Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of the Let Me Think podcast. I'm Emily, and I am joined here with my co-host Gosia and our special guest Sadaf, and they'll introduce themselves in just a sec. I am a writer. I write a lot about twin flames, and I have a book that I've written about twin flames called Twin Flames and the Love Story Within, available on Amazon. I also do twin flame spiritual coaching, and you can find me on my website, wellnessoneness.com. And as you may have guessed, this episode is about twin flames. So just a warning, our discussion here might get a little heavy for some of our listeners. So this is a serious topic. So I'm going to hand it over to Gosia.
Hi, my name is Gosia. I'm the co-host of the podcast Let Me Think, along with my friend Emily. I'm also a writer. I write about conscious living and authenticity. I am also a self-love and authenticity coach, and my mission is to help women connect with their true selves and basically create a fulfilling life on their terms. And our guest, Sadaf, would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Sure. I mean, I am not as accomplished as you both right now, and I might become Gosia's future client if women trying to find themselves. So my name is Sadaf. I am the special guest this week, but I work in marketing and events, and I'm a tarot card reader, and I'm spiritual, but I have not found my path. So I'm glad to be connected with Gosia and Emily here.
Yes, thank you for joining us. And most importantly, Sadaf found me through my writing about twin flames. And we are good friends now because both of us have endured the twin flame journey and the stages of it, including some kind of tragic incidents. So I will just say I met the person I believe who is my twin flame about a year ago, just over a year ago. And it was a wild journey. We'll get into some of the details, but he passed away earlier this year. And I'm saying this because some of our listeners may share this kind of journey in grief as well. And that's certainly how Sadaf and I originally connected. Would you like to say anything about twin flames, Sadaf?
Yeah, I found Emily 2 weeks after who I believed was my twin flame passed away. And because it was just this feeling of like emptiness that I've never felt before in my life. And I was like, is this what it feels like when, this person that you believe is your twin flame, like dies? Because the whole idea with the twin flame is like they're the other half of your soul, like it's one soul that was split into two and then put into some other body, or whatever you believe, however that spirit exists. But it was really hard, and I met him almost 4 years ago, and we were together for 6, 7, 8 months, and then we broke up. And I always knew he'd come back in my life. I just didn't know how and when, and he did, and then he died. So it was a lot. And then I found Emily to help me through that grief process, and now there's like a twin flame group, and we're just trying to all make sense of it together, because I think it's not something that is often spoken about, but also everyone has different beliefs and thoughts around it and what it is and what it means.
Yeah, we have about 10 members in that group now, and it's very interesting actually to hear what twin flames mean to different people.
I think it's important to say that I actually haven't met my twin flame, or at least I think I didn't. But the more I read about twin flames, the more I kind of think that maybe my current partner is my twin flame, because there's some bits and pieces that fit in, but I believe that once we explore the topic today a little bit more, then maybe we'll have more clarity on that. So I look forward to our conversation.
Thank you. And yeah, I mean, that's the reason we are recording this episode is because a lot of our listeners probably feel the same way, are wondering if they do know their twin flame. So I just want to say, well, everyone relates to this, right? That's why it's fascinating to everyone, even if you don't think you've met your twin flame, because it's like the archetypal love story. It's like we all have this ability to understand it within us, like Romeo and Juliet. I always also think of like The Great Gatsby as a twin flame story. And there's stories like this throughout history, right? Of two kind of star-crossed lovers, or whatever you want to call it, very intense love affair. And there's always some like element of pain in it as well. But we all kind of relate to that. So it is fascinating. I will say I did not believe twin flames were real before I met mine. And I really struggled to like accept that that's what was happening. But
yeah, I mean, I would say I had first looked at the term twin flame after another ex-boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend before, who the person who I believe was my twin flame. And because I was like, when you come out of a relationship, even though it's the worst relationship ever, you're still kind of heartbroken. And so that was, and then I was like, no, he was just a narcissist. He wasn't a twin flame. So, but I never I then kind of gave up hope on finding my twin flame. Like, I didn't think it was going to be. And then when I met him, like, it was just this like instant connect, like seconds. And we met on Hinge, right? So it wasn't even like, how do you connect with someone online? And it was like instant, like where like if he didn't message me, I missed him. And I was like, I don't even know this person. And so when we met in person, like 2 weeks later, it was just like magical, like instantly just magical. And it also then afterwards, after we broke up, it threw me into this like more spirit, like it pushed me more spiritually. That's when I became Reiki certified, because I just felt like I needed to better myself to almost match how like magical and he was. Like it was interesting that way.
So I one of the first questions I was going to ask you, and we can talk about, is what are the signs of a twin flame? And you just named a few. So there's an instant connection, and you also feel very comfortable with this person. It's very strange, not a bad strange, but a new feeling that you've never really had before, that you've known this person forever. And like you said, there's an element of like heartbreak in it. Like you thought your previous ex was your twin flame. No, he's just a narcissist. Well, we can talk about whether twin flame relationships are toxic in any way. I don't think they are. And then what was the last thing? I'm losing my train of thought. What you were saying about the signs
pushing you spiritually forward.
Spiritually. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest one for me, is when someone comes to me. Like I said, I do twin flame coaching, and people often schedule meetings with me to even just find out if somebody is their twin flame and just talk it through. And I don't think anyone, even me, can like say, yes, they were definitely your twin flame based on what you said. You have to figure that out for yourself. But I do think for me, the biggest ingredient or the biggest sign is the spiritual awakening, because you're usually already awakened by the time you meet them, but they really push you to a new level.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
So a lot of the things match actually with my experience, because I think they push you to, I don't know, I'm trying to find out if my current partner is my twin flame. But let's say he is. My experience is very similar to yours, guys. He pushed me outside of my comfort zone. And if I didn't meet him, I would have stayed where I was, and I would have never stepped onto a personal development path, and then I would never had my spiritual awakening afterwards. But that was a few years after we've actually met. We've been together since then, and we've been growing together. And And yeah, it's been a roller coaster, to be honest, because that's apparently what it is like with twin flames. So maybe I have met my twin flame, I'm not sure, but they definitely push you to be a better person.
Yeah. Well, and let's just say other relationships can also push you, non-twin flame relationships can also, well, hopefully push you to be a better person or to learn something, because I do believe every relationship, well, what I've learned from the twin flame experience is actually that everyone mirrors you and everyone has a lesson to teach you. It's just that the twin flame is like extra intense. But yeah, she could be your twin flame. Sadaf, what do you think are the signs of a twin flame?
Well, okay, so one thing you said was, is a twin flame relationship toxic or not? I don't believe it is. I mean, yeah, it was a roller coaster, right? Like, we broke up obviously for a reason when we did break up, but then I still loved him. Like, it was unconditional love. And like, he wasn't necessarily he never cheated on me when we were together. There was none of that. There was, us living our lives separately for 2 years, or 3 years technically, because there was a year in between where we were just talking, and maybe in there he was leading me on, but I really think it's like he wanted to be the person for me that I wanted him to be, right? Like the guy that showed up, but I just don't think he was able to in that point in his life. And then we cut ties like fully, where I blocked him because I needed to move on with my life. And, he went on and had it, did his own thing. He had another kid, like he just like lived his own life. And so but I got it, like if he was happy, I would be happy for him, and I understood why he was doing that. So I think, one, there's no like toxicity there. I think there's like understanding. So I think that's one sign, like it just doesn't, you're not like, you're hurt, but you're happy for them too in your own way. And then other signs like synchronicities, like all of a sudden I just started seeing 1111 everywhere, 222. We had synchronicities with like, his phone number started with 422. I lived in an apartment 422. Like, it was little things that just, like I just saw my life come full circle, and it was really interesting. And there's probably points in our life when, we may have been in the same place. Like, he was a few years younger, but like we could have been in the same place. Like, and so it's really interesting.
Yeah, that happened to me too. Or we discovered that we were in the same room at one point a few years ago. And it was really strange that there were major life milestones or events that happened around the same time in our lives. We had people in our lives very close to us with the same names. That was the weirdest thing to me. I haven't encountered that before. And yeah, just seeing 11 everywhere when I first met him, and him seeing 11 and telling me right after I told him I just saw 11. And did you also experience like the text messages at like 3 a.m. when you both happen to be texting each other at the exact same time or something like that? Or like dreams? Dreams are big.
Dreams are big.
You want to tell us about your dreams?
Well, I've always been a little bit of a dreamer, not a visionary, but also, I've had dreams all my life, and I've also had dreams that like come true later on. And so for me, it was, just another thing, but he was in all of them. And I think now, it's been hard because after he's passed, like I had like one dream with him, like 2 nights later, because I think I just needed to hear him say he loved me because I was having so much doubt. And so he did in that dream, and like, it was great. And then I hadn't had a dream with him for like another maybe 2 months at that point. And then like through, 2 weeks ago, now I have dreams with him like constantly. And like, there's sometimes where I ask him, because like now I just like, I feel him by my side like all the time. So like, I'm just like, hey, like, can you show up in my dream so I like can remember what you look like still, because it's like them being there in spirit it's awesome, but it's still not the same. So if I ask, he usually shows up somehow now. So it's nice.
Yeah, I've experienced similar things. Yeah, for sure.
but yeah, you do have like, when you're about to text message, like it's, if you think about the person, they message you right away. And I've had like, you know, other like friendships, like I think that's just energy exchange that can also happen in. But I think one of the, you know, for me, I was like, I always felt this way. And then when we got back together, I like in this past July, I didn't know if he ever felt this way. And he was like, you know, we've always had a connection. And like, he's like, we always know what's happening in each other's life, even though we would never say it. And we like, so it was just like that, him acknowledging that like made me realize like, yes, he is my twin flame. And I was about to tell him at that point, we were just so drunk, but like I was like about to be like, wait, have you heard? I was like, wait, I'm not getting into this now. I thought I'd have like, you know, the rest of our lives. And unfortunately I did not, but.
Same for me. I was going to get to that topic with him, but didn't realize that we didn't have time. So something else I just remembered as well about twin flames is that there's this, I think it's this experience of the deepest unconditional love anyone can imagine. And I actually felt, I think my heart chakra like expanding. Someone explained it to me as your high heart chakra, whatever that really is, but it was weird. It was like there was pain in my chest sometimes when I would think of him or look at pictures or videos of him. Like something was healing rapidly or something was like coming together. I don't know, but it was this heart feeling. And I am saying this as a segue into something that Gosia and I have been friends for a while, that she's highly intuitive. And do you want to say anything about any experiences you've had with people, like a great feeling of love? And you don't have to. Yeah.
Well, I feel like whenever I meet someone who's my soul family, I experience like shivering going over all over my body, and I experience my heart chakra opening. I haven't had a chance to talk to Emily about this because I've been ill. I've been off sick for the past week. But actually on Monday, I've met someone. I was volunteering at the food bank on Monday, and I met a lady who I constantly felt connection with. And I could feel like as soon as I met her and we've exchanged, like she was actually very like down to earth, and she gave me her hand and we shaked, and I experienced this shivering going all over my body and my heart chakra opening, and also my solar plexus, because my solar plexus is quite defined. And we were not separate since we met at 10 a.m. And then I finished at 3, and we've been constantly together. And the subjects we were talking about were like never ending. We've had so much in common. So I feel like you know instantly when someone is your soul family. And twin flame is certainly, some people say it's the other half of your soul, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I
you
don't know if
get
I really believe that, but yeah. But
yeah.
it's like,
I know
yeah.
Emily and I differ on that opinion, because I believe that, like, but I think
right.
it's how you also imagine
Possible.
like souls and spirits and, you know, the energy. Whereas like, I think in my mind, I was like, I have a soul, and now like his soul was the other half. But I know if you believe like there's one soul across like everyone, which I.
Well, I do believe, well, I don't know if I believe it exactly as you just said it, but like, yeah, that we're all connected. But that the twin flame is just it's like the person who's been with you in very significant ways in many lifetimes. And I'm open to the idea that it's the other half of your soul. I just don't know. I haven't like felt that is necessarily true. But Gosha, but I don't know if you don't mind me bringing up that like earlier this year you used to like tap into energy, and you said you felt this incredible feeling of like love that you'd never felt before.
I did. that was before I found a job. And like got thrown into the matrix again and had to worry about dealing with people. And but yeah, I did experience that, and that energy of unconditional love, that's just healing energy that just heals you. And it's like a magical wall that, and nothing that is not a vibrational match will enter. And it's just incredible. It's incredible. And we are able to actually do that ourselves, because I feel like it comes from within. It comes from from within, and the center, that in the center of it is our heart.
That is a great point, because I think it's like, so if anyone listening here is in separation from your twin flame, or they've passed away, it's so powerful to remember that that feeling of love really comes from within you, and you can have it at any time. It's always been there. But the thing about the twin flames is that it awakens you to the realization that this is what love actually is. It's something beyond any fear that's been in you. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. When you're in separation, it pushes you to figure out what your what your own personal issues might be, what patterns and cycles you're repeating over and over. Like, it was all of a sudden I realized, like, the things I didn't want to be doing in, relationships alone, but then all the things I disliked about me, right? So like working on your shadow self, and, and then also really thinking about, like, am I on the right path? There's things, being in this matrix world when you work in, like, corporate America and whatnot, which Emily knows I just some I do. And sometimes, like, I've had jobs that I love and they're amazing. And, so there's part of me where I feel whole. And then there's parts of me, like, where it is draining, and is that the right thing to be doing? Right. And you start considering that, like, where I'm like, am I meant to be a healer? Am I meant to be, more than just this person that shows up every day at 8 a.m. and works till 10 p.m., so.
On something you don't believe in.
Yeah. Or not all the time, I should say.
Not all, right.
Yeah.
There's always going to be some part of every job that is enjoyable, hopefully. But yeah, right. I do think another mark of the twin flame journey is when you have, because you have this crazy awakening, you have doubts about your authenticity as a person. Like, am I living in an authentic way? One of Gosha's favorite topics to talk about, authenticity. But twin flames really, like, smack you in the face, and then you realize, holy crap, life is short and I should be working on my life mission.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this job?
Yeah, like, you start looking for life purpose, like, it becomes this. And I think for the past 3 years, I've been looking for my life purpose. And it was hard, when there's like a pandemic and you can't go out and do all the things you want to do, and you have to, like, sometimes, like, I lost my job, so I couldn't just, like, go and just do anything I wanted to, because I was like, more worried about getting a new job versus becoming, like, focused on becoming a healer. But now, in his death, I'm like, this is like another awakening. Like, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and this was like the way to show me that. It's also, they always talk about how twin flames, there's one more that's spiritually awakened and one that's not. And I always thought I was the one that was more spiritually awakened, in at least, like, in physical form on earth. But, like, when I started thinking about it, I was like, I think he was always living his life purpose of wanting to help people, and whatever career he was in, he was a helper. He wasn't money driven. Like, it was like his goal was to help people. And so it's like, now I'm like, oh shit, sorry for saying, but, like, I'm like, I wasn't the one that was, like, awakened. Like, this is why, like, he died to push me forward.
I mean, I felt the same thing. Mine, he was just such a warm-hearted, big-hearted person. And I never really thought of myself as that. I want to be, but not as selfless as him. And I wouldn't say that they were necessarily more spiritually awakened than us, but they were awakened to their life purpose, or like just the fact that we're all connected and we should be nice to each other on planet Earth and not be self-involved. Yeah, I also want to say that the twin flame journey, it's all about you. So my book is not a story about my twin flame. It's about me and about anybody who's going through this, how you work on yourself and your self-love. That's what I believe. It's about awakening and becoming a better person and figuring out how to live your life more authentically and all those things and finding more self-love. This person has awakened your heart, and then you shouldn't be looking outward at them. You look inward.
I feel like a twin flame journey is very much about authenticity, and opening yourself up to your truth, because your twin flame is challenging you. I actually have a similar experience. Like my partner, he was always, he was never accepting the society and the system we live in, and he was always opposing that. And I just needed someone to like show me the courage to stand up, and just refuse to live in fear, like we've been taught we need to from the very beginning, since childhood. And yeah, and that's actually my authenticity now. Like I'm so against the made up rules and things we're being told we need to do, the to-do list we need to follow. Like everyone's to-do list is different. That's what I'm finding out. It's not always the same. It's not always we're being taught that we need to get married, have children, get mortgage. Like everyone's different. Everyone's depending on their childhood and what values they've been taught by the parents. The to-do list is going to be different, but then you have to like challenge yourself and find out for yourself what it is that's true to you and what is it that you need to do. What is your mission in this lifetime? And it's not necessarily what your parents told you it needs to be, or what society told you, what your teachers told you. You've got to find out for yourself. And I feel like the twin flame, your twin flame is actually helping you in that, with that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's right. Because it makes you realize that you are not just this role in this life. Would you agree, Sadaf, that you are something beyond that? You are a soul, and the essential you is not the daughter of these parents, or I'm a mom. I'm not, but that doesn't define me as a soul. I'm something more. Would you agree?
No, I agree. Like, I think you start to look at the bigger picture, outside of just this physical world, and like, what else happened, because it's also said that with your twin flame, you've lived many lives together, right? And I think Emily was saying that too, like you just no matter what, like you've been there with them through and through, and that could go back to there's ideas of other planets and aliens and whatnot, and that could be in whatever form and whatever being, but like in the end we're this like spirit, light, energy, soul, however you think of it, that's just was put here for a short time.
Would you guys say that you have similar like interests and hobbies with your twin flame? You had.
I thought you were going to say with each other.
I was like, yeah, no, that's a good question.
No, with your.
I think he was the yin to my yang, and like, yeah, we enjoyed certain things together, but like, I would say ultimately, like, we were different people. Like, I don't know, like, yes, like we enjoyed spending time together and doing things together, but like, I don't think we had the same hobbies, but it's hard because maybe in a way we did. We both worked a lot, but in different ways. We both enjoyed spending time going out and drinking and eating, you know? And so it's like, maybe, but like, we both liked reading, like there's things, but then I always like, you know, I was into tarot and meditation but he never like laughed at that. He was just like, okay, that's cool. But he just like never took part in it either. And you know, there's a life he had before and all those things. Like he was in the military. I was very anti-system in military. It's like the opposite of what you were saying, Gosia. Like he was actually very like, he thought he could change the system from within. And it's like, I don't know, man, that doesn't sound like, I was like, that's not how I would do things. But so like I feel like we were opposites. It was almost like the definition of like when opposites attract.
Mm-hmm. What's your experience, Emily?
Yeah, I would not say we were opposites, but there were certainly some interests we didn't share, like you said, being into meditation and tarot, but it wasn't like he rejected it, but we had a lot of similar interests. Like I think we had the same sense of humor. That was really big for me because my sense of humor is really unusual. And same taste in music. Well, maybe not exactly the same, but we meshed. Like we both sang loud in the car. I don't know. It was really funny. One time we were like I shouldn't admit this because I kind of went off the wagon on my like healthy eating journey for a little bit, and we were in like the McDonald's drive-through, and I was like, "What do you want?" Exactly the same order to a T that I've always had in my life. I know that sounds dumb, but it's just so funny to hear that coming out of somebody else's mouth. So I don't know. I don't think a sign of a twin flame is that you're either opposites or that you have everything in common. I think it's what we said before about being very comfortable with this person. That's what counts, right? That they're not judging you. They're not rejecting you for your interests.
They're acceptive of you and all your parts.
Yeah.
And I was going to say about going back to the are they toxic question, because you read a lot of things on the internet about how twin flames are toxic, but I don't think that's true, because although there's a lot of weird stuff that happens and you're in separation and it doesn't seem like that makes any sense, I think that's what it is. It's not toxic, it just doesn't make any sense. Would you agree with that, Sadaf? Like, why are we in separation? There's like no logical explanation, and it's not like they're being mean to you.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think you're just trying to live your own like life. Like I think it's a reason that they have to go do that, right? Because one, it's I don't know. It's like, yeah, like I don't know why we're in separation, because it's to be like, okay, yeah, we got back together. Why didn't we just stay together? Like, what was the point of us being apart for X amount of years? Like, so yes, it doesn't make sense. But then I think it's a part of their journey to grow and learn. And then I also think, because I was, I've been thinking about it a lot, because, he went off and had another relationship and had a kid. And it was, for me, that was a tough one to kind of like work through when he came back, because I was like, why did you do this? But I think it's also to end any karmic cycles that like may have been carried through into our next life. Like, so now anything that he had with this like other person is like cut, so she'll never like bother us again in our future life together, or wherever that is. So that's where I was like, maybe he just needed to like complete that journey too.
I hope that's true.
For sure, everything is divinely guided and orchestrated, so there must have been a reason for that.
So the last question I want to discuss before we wrap up: anyone listening who's in separation from their twin flame, because I believe one of the biggest internet searches about twin flames entered into Google is like, when is my twin flame going to come back? So do we have any advice for these people? I know I do, but I'll let you say what you think.
Yeah, I think it's when you actually let go of the idea that you need them. I mean, I thought about him every single day, and it was probably the one day that I didn't think about him, that he like came
right.
back and messaged me. And what's talking about synchronicities again, I live in DC. And so I just like went to like treat myself to like a sushi lunch, and I was across from the Marine Corps base in DC, like where they all live, like I forget, it's like the quarters, there's a name for it. And he was a Marine, and I was sitting there eating my lunch. Our first date was in that neighborhood. Like I wasn't even thinking about him. Like there was like no, and got that text message, and I was like, so I think it's like when you like finally like just let go and live your life, and you're just like, you forget. And
yep, I would say that's exactly, that's exactly, not exactly. I wasn't eating sushi, unfortunately. I love sushi. But that's pretty much what happened to me. It was a day when I decided to choose to wait as long as it takes, and I'm not going to feel bad about it and be in pain or like try to replace him with someone else. And I was also like choosing to be more present with the people around me. It was weird how that happened. I did not expect, and to release expectations. I think that's important. Focus on yourself and cultivate self-love and release expectations of how things are supposed to be. And I also had the synchronicities just 2 days before he came back. It was so weird. I was experiencing a lot of, I won't go into it, but there were a lot of strange coincidences. I was like, what is happening? So you might be seeing signs leading up to this person coming back for sure.
Clear the resistance.
Yes, clear the resistance. Yes.
Yeah. Focus on yourself, clear the resistance, and no expectations for anything. I think, Gosia, you were saying that, right? Like any societal expectations, any parental expectations, you just have to let everything go and live in your own true self, and things start falling into place when you least expect it.
Yeah.
Just being happy as the person you are, whatever comes. Another person does not complete you. So ironic, right? Because twin flames are, supposed to be the other half of your soul. And yet they do not complete you. You are already complete, and you are going to be fine.
Yeah, it's funny how you really don't have to do much for life to work out for you. You just have to be true to yourself and clear that resistance and get rid of those expectations, and things will fall into place. But we have that disease as human beings, that we are very impatient and we want to see instant results, and that doesn't help. That just creates more resistance. So if we learn to just be patient and clear that, everything will fall into place.
And you're doing it for yourself. You're creating like this beautiful state of mind no one can take away from you, right? And then all the good things just spontaneously start to happen. We can talk all about that. Yeah, and another future episode should just be about, well, we're going to do one about self-love sometime, and how that kind of just unlocks everything else, including the twin flame union. But then again, no one can predict when your twin flame is going to come back. It's so silly to see all the questions on Quora or whatever. When is my twin flame coming back? How is anyone else supposed to answer that? You can't, you probably, well, I do believe that you can have an intuition about it. Only you can answer it, but you probably won't really be able to answer it. Otherwise, life wouldn't be fun if there were no surprises, right?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Right. Yeah. I don't think you're supposed to, I mean, you can have an intuition, but doesn't mean it's the actual one that's going to lead to union, right? Like, and that's where it's all, you just have to let go of control.
Again, even if they don't come back, and you have to release the expectation of what you're doing is going to bring them back too. It's just like, even if they don't come back, you're doing better than you ever have been, because you found this like place to be where you just love yourself. I think self-love is such a cliched term now. I try, sometimes when I say it, I'm like, the meaning has been lost, but to me, that really was the true meaning of it when I experienced it. It was like, I don't need anything else to complete me. So,
That's right. Yeah, this is what self-love is, basically. Yeah. I do believe there is, the meaning has been distorted. But it's about coming back to yourself and knowing that you are already whole.
So I think that concludes our episode about twin flames. Each of us will tell you how to get in touch if you'd like to. Sadaf, would you like to let our listeners know if they want to contact you and what you offer?
Sure. I offer tarot card readings. I have a Instagram, so you can find me on Instagram, and it's at sip. Let me. It's at spill. Sorry, it's at spill the tea .arot. So at spill the tea .arot.
So it's like spill the tarot, but it's like all clever.
But spill the tea, because I also it's in the works, but I will be making herbal tea potions to find self-love and cure anxiety, not cure, but just relaxing herbal teas. And so that's in the making as well. And I think it's really important to just take care of yourself on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait to try your tea. Oh, and Sadaf has done tarot readings for me several times, and she has a great skill at that. So I highly recommend anybody looking for a tarot reading to go to her, especially about twin flames. So again, I'm Emily, and you can find me on my website, wellnessoneness.com. I'm also on Instagram as wellness_oneness. And I'm also open for bookings with anybody who wants to talk about their twin flame journey. And I also, again, wrote a book called Twin Flames and the Love Story Within. Gosia?
So I have a website that's under my original name. It's małgorzata-fietko.com. I haven't got an Instagram because as it happens today, it has been deleted because apparently I've broken the community guidelines. But
So dramatic.
I will be setting up a new one, and we'll put the links down below. So you can, on my website, you can find how to work with me under Work With Me tab. And all the details are there. And that's for the people who want to get self-connected, find out what authentic means to them. And they want to just create a fulfilling life on their terms, not on terms of society or their parents.
Mm-hmm. And so again, all of the ways to connect with all three of us will be in the description of this episode. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you for being our guest today, Sadaf.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, until next time, everyone.
Till next time.
Bye.